Welcome to Maximizing Social Media Opportunities to Enable Commerce Success. I'm Kimberly Thomas. I'm a Magento Certified Solution Specialist. I have several years of experience building and architecting Magento stores. In addition, I'm an avid social media advocate, and personally I use Twitter to propel my involvement in the Magento community. We have a really great group of panelists here. It's a microcosmic of our Magento ecosystem. So please welcome John Weber from Carved, a Magento merchant, Rob Crocker from Funnelbox, a service provider for YouTube, Jenna Warren from Creativity Corp, a Magento partner, and Gabriel Francis from Facebook, a social network you may have heard of. It's really great to have representatives from all sides of the spectrum. So we'll be talking with our panelists to hear about how they use social media in their business, and I'll turn it over to them to introduce themselves. So John, let's start with you.
Hello, my name is John Weber. I'm the founder of a company called Carved. We make wood iPhone cases, and also like Galaxy cases and Nexus cases. We started the company 5 years ago. We've had a lot of success since then, and a big part of our strategy since pretty much day one has been our social media strategy. We've worked hard on a couple key channels to make sure that we were visible there and also that we were responding to customers. The main thing that I kind of wanted to share today was the various channels, how we've seen them work for us, and the different channels, what's worked for us, and how our customers have been responding to us on those channels. Instagram was kind of the primary one we used. We've got a very visual product. Early on, when we started 5 years ago, Instagram didn't even have the web-based portion of it at all. Like, to look at a photo, you had to be on a phone. And so we realized, hey, if someone's on Instagram, they're a potential customer because we're selling a case that would go on their phone. So we worked really hard from day one to really be engaging customers on Instagram. We use it a lot to announce new products. We use it a lot to get feedback. So we'll put up a couple designs, say side by side, and we'll ask people to respond, what do you like better, left or right? And then we'll use a lot of that information we're gathering from them to kind of drive decisions for the next product we're going to be making. We've also used Instagram to sell product. And so we'll have kind of exclusive cases we'll make. So like a couple years ago, we did a 4th of July case and posted, and we sold, I think our deal was like 20 for 20. So we had 20 cases for 20 minutes, $20 each. And all you had to do was comment to buy it, and then we would direct message the user. And it was very successful. We sold them all in 14 minutes. But we've had a lot of success on Instagram in terms of putting our product out there in front of people. Facebook has worked really well for us. The area we've really seen Facebook work well is in buying ads to drive new conversions and drive new awareness. And so we'll buy ads that will target people who like our page and their friends. The assumption is, if you've got our wood case on your phone, you're hanging out with your friends, they've seen it, now they're seeing an ad for us on the news feed, and so we've kind of already got a little bit of credibility with you. We can kind of increase that potential conversion rate and engagement rate. We've had a lot of success on Twitter. Twitter, what we see is we get a lot of people who are posting about us. And we will like the tweet, we'll retweet it from them. But Twitter's been kind of the main channel where people are saying, hey, here's a picture of my new carved case, or I love these guys, or they're kind of telling a little bit of our story. And so they may only be telling it to 100 or 200 people, but that kind of creates a great snowball effect for us, and then those people are, again, connected to our brand, and now we're engaging with them. We've also used Snapchat for probably about 6 months now. We use Snapchat pretty aggressively to really show the inner workings and kind of the day-to-day life of our shop. So our employees are actually using the Snapchat account. I'll go through every once in a while and post some stuff, but for the most part, it's them. They'll log in, and they're actually just posting stuff throughout the day. And just kind of, again, trying to create this relationship with our customers and create a brand that they really care about and has a meaning to them. For us, iPhone cases is extremely competitive. Wood cases, when we started, I was telling Gabriel at the beginning, when we started, there was probably about 3 or 4 companies doing what we were doing. Now there's who knows how many companies selling wood phone cases. So we've really got to do a good job connecting with our customers. And so social's been a huge part of our growth and our strategy for connecting and becoming authentic to our customers.
My name is Rob Crocker. I am CEO of Funnelbox. We're a video marketing consultancy that helps organizations leverage the power of YouTube, the world's second largest search engine, to drive traffic and sales. I started the company almost 17 years ago as a traditional production company, but as social video continues to get more and more ubiquitous, we realized that when it comes to commerce, utilizing video in commerce, the real magic isn't from developing great-looking videos with a great story, but rather in optimizing those videos and the channels to really help drive measurable sales and marketing results. We utilize all kinds of different social video channels to do this, including Facebook, which can be an incredible video channel for organizations. But we usually start with YouTube, and the reason is there are a couple of reasons we usually start with YouTube. Usually with the organizations we deal with, more often than not, they already have a YouTube channel and they have YouTube content that is relatively easy to optimize to actually help them start delivering measurable results from what they've already invested time, money, and resources in. The other opportunity is more often than not, the organizations we work with have competitors that aren't utilizing YouTube at all. So they're leaving the YouTube opportunity door wide open for our clients to bust through and really own. When it comes to YouTube, there really is some significant opportunities for folks, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit.
Hi, I'm Jenna Warren. I'm a Magento Certified Solution Specialist at Creativity. We are a solution partner down in Dallas, Texas, and we build and grow exceptional Magento stores. So recently we were engaged to build the integration from Magento to Pinterest buyable pins. And that's kind of what I'm here to chat a little bit more about today. So I don't know how many of you use the Pinterest app, but if you do, you've started to see that blue buy it button that's appearing on some product pins. Basically what that does is instead of just clicking the link to purchase the product from the website, you can instead click that button and you'd have your shipping information and your payment information like your credit card already stored, or you could use Apple Pay, and you can very quickly check out right there in that moment. So it's a really great opportunity for retailers to kind of capture right there at that moment of inspiration. So the way that it would work in your Magento store is that you would use an extension that we built, and it would create this kind of specialized product feed that it sends to Pinterest that's going to tell Pinterest what you want to be buyable, and add that buy it button, to any pin that links back to that product. It doesn't have to be your pin, it can be any pin. And then once someone actually does purchase it, it's going to go straight into your Magento admin panel so that you can process it just like any other order that you normally do. And the really cool thing about it is you actually own the entire transaction. So that means you're going to process the credit card with your regular credit card processor. And also you're going to get the customer's entire information, including their email address, which is a little bit different than, say, if you were purchasing on or if you were selling on Amazon or eBay or something like that. So that's cool because then you can do those post-sale emails that you normally send, or however you normally market to your customers. You can continue to do that. We already have a group of Magento merchants that are live using buyable pins. The results are really good so far. We're seeing really cool stats about increased average order value, increased mobile conversions, and also it's turning out to be a really low cost per acquisition for new customers. So that's the especially exciting part about this opportunity. So that's what I'm here to chat about today.
Hey everyone, so I'm Gabriel. I work at Facebook, which is a social network. You haven't heard of it. I'm here today for two reasons. The first is that Magento is an important future partner for Facebook, and we are actually starting to explore building some extensions in the platform. So actually, you can go to the Magento Connect platform today and search for Facebook Ads Toolbox and see one of our first efforts in that space. It's a platform on which we plan to continue to expand with the goal of helping people using the Magento platform to have more success in delivering organic as well as paid results into their businesses. The second reason that we're here is to talk about a fundamental shift in consumer behavior that we have been seeing and observing over the past couple years from Facebook, and that is the shift to mobile devices. So if you think back to 10, 15 years ago, when a lot of us were first starting out building our businesses, or at least we had the seeds and the inspiration for our businesses, a lot of our businesses and a lot of our e-commerce activity was spent inside and based on an assumption that people were purchasing primarily within a desktop web browser. You would have a household family, and there was pretty well that you could assume that that household was making its buying decisions, if they were online, within a single computer, and often there was a single web browser installed on that computer. A lot of our businesses, e-commerce, as well as the advertising and acquisition that we were doing, was based on that assumption. Single household, single computer, single web browser. You fast forward to today, and actually just in the past couple years, one thing that you've noticed is that a person and a family no longer make their purchasing decisions inside of that single computer. We have multiple devices, so I have a phone in my pocket, and I'm sure all of you do too. You might even have two. You might have a tablet at home, and you probably also have a laptop. Not just you, but in your household, probably every member of your household has the same. So this proliferation of devices has caused a fundamental challenge for us as businesses. How do we, one, build our businesses and adapt them to operate in this mobile environment where people are spending majority time looking at a really tiny screen, and speed and latency and reducing that are really important. But also, how do you reach people on those mobile devices? The same strategies that we use to drive traffic, to drive conversions, and to optimize our funnels no longer apply in this mobile world, where people are using multiple devices, and a majority of that is spent in the one in your pocket. And so that's really what I'm here to talk about today, and I'm happy to elaborate on that a little bit further.
Thanks, everyone. So social media success requires gaining the trust of your followers. What are some of the ways that you have established authenticity and transparency?
One of the things that at Carve that we found for authenticity and transparency was, the best way to say it, is not really putting too much of a filter, I guess, on what we were putting out. Not to say we were being crazy, but the employees are able to post, and I don't require them to, run those posts by me. I trust them to be putting stuff up, that they think is interesting and informative to the people that they're actually making the product for. And so we've seen people really love that because they're seeing our employees. The guys love doing pranks on each other. So a good example is we had an Instagram video, and they didn't even tell me about this. I just was swiping through our feed and saw it a while back. But one of them hid in the dumpster. We have like a cardboard recycling dumpster. And he hid in the dumpster with a GoPro, and then some other poor guy came out to throw cardboard away, and he jumped out and screamed at him and scared the crap out of the guy. And they posted that to our Instagram. And so it's just a silly little video, but the people who are following us kind of got to know the people who are actually making the product for them. And it really, for us, kind of showing that daily life of our company really creates that. And so then when we're promoting a product or asking for product feedback or even trying to sell something to them, it's a lot easier to make that connection at that point.
There's Dr. Albert Mehrabian was a professor at UCLA, and in the 60s, he formulated what is now called the Arabians Formula, and many of you are probably familiar with it. Basically what it states is when communicating to others authenticity and intent, there's three parts to a message that go into that communication. The first part is the words. The words in a communication only account for 7% of the message that's being communicated. The inflection and intonation of a person's voice account for 38%, and a full 55% of what's being communicated is from body language. So when it comes to barring the opportunity for each and every one of you to talk in person with a prospect that's visiting your site, there is no better way to communicate authenticity than through video. Now, obviously, the types of videos you're going to have where somebody's actually speaking to the camera isn't going to be the right type of video for every purpose. But if you do have an opportunity to get a spokesperson, whether it be a founder or an employee, to talk about your mission, your values, or even just your products, it can really be a very, very powerful tool for you to communicate that message authentically.
Great.
Oh, I have
sorry.
one more comment. So coming back to this mobile theme that I kind of pushed in my introduction, one thing that you're seeing that's quite different about behavior of people, especially on mobile devices, is that a majority of the time inside of those mobile devices is actually spent inside of apps. About 3/4 of all time spent on our mobile devices, which is now occupying a majority of our time on digital media, is spent in the top 5 apps in your phone. And so one of the things that's really important to do is to be present where people are spending a majority of their time, right? And so if you're looking to be authentic and engage your user base, it's really important that you are present and engaged in the places where they are already spending a lot of time and are being influenced. And so Facebook Pages now has about 50 million active businesses inside and operating on Facebook. And so Facebook Page, if you're looking to be active and engaged with your customer base as well as expressing your authentic places or authentic selves, is a great place to start. Facebook is also starting to explore direct business-to-people communication. If you were looking at our F8 announcements this morning, you notice that we've been working quite hard on the Messenger platform, which is also one of the top 5 apps where people spend a majority of their time on their phone. And so being able to be present in front of people in the place where they're spending their time with your Facebook page and then engaging them in an active dialogue through that Facebook page and through increasingly Messenger is one really great way to make sure that you are connecting with people as they are going about shopping.
How have you uniquely used a social media channel to enable commerce success?
So basically, if you want to tackle Pinterest as a social channel, you can't really think of it as traditional social media. So Pinterest is a visual catalog of inspiration and ideas, and people are going there not necessarily to connect with friends and family, but to find ideas, everything from planning their wedding to planning a bathroom remodel, whatever the case may be. And so I would say the cool thing about that is that it just levels the playing field. It doesn't matter what size of business you are. You have this opportunity that you can inspire potential customers very easily. If you've got great product images or other visuals, you can get those in front of potential customers at a pretty quick rate.
I'll say in a general sense, the folks that we work with, when we spend time optimizing their channels that they already have, especially if they already have a YouTube channel, if they have YouTube content, they get a significant return on that investment in a relatively short period of time, because all you're doing is making what you've already done work for you better. Rather than using YouTube just as a repository for serving your videos, you're using it as a real traffic generator for you. If it's low-hanging fruit, and it's a very straightforward path to fix your YouTube channel that you're already using. If you're interested in doing that, and I'm sure there are many of you here that are probably using YouTube that you don't know if it's actually generating results for you or not. If you're interested in doing that, the first step you want to do is just get an audit of your channel. Find somebody who's an expert in YouTube, get an audit, and you should have a very straightforward path as to what you need to fix and how to make it work for you. As an aside, Funnelbox is a free YouTube audit tool. If you're interested in that, come talk to me afterwards, and it's a basic audit tool that'll give you a direction. A really cool story I'd like to talk about is a company, a Magento-based online retailer called mybinding.com. Jeff McRitchie is the VP of marketing at mybinding.com. They sell binding machines, paper shredders, staplers. I've talked to him a couple times. He's based up in the Portland area, and he's told me that they directly attribute millions of dollars a year in sales to their YouTube efforts. and it's pretty awesome. But not only that's cool in and of itself, but what's even cooler is what they do in order to help generate that content. So they actually have manufacturers send them early models of new products that they use to create these videos with, and they send it to them for free. So the cool part about that is MyBinding.com is creating this great video content for their marketing efforts, YouTube, and also separate videos on their website. And then they take the product once it's done and they sell it afterwards, 100% margin. They don't have to pay for it. It's cool, it's a win-win because the manufacturer gets great content that helps them sell through more product, gets some video exposure. MyBinding.com gets, they're one of the first dealers or resellers that actually get the new products. They get to use that to create content for themselves to help them sell more, and then they get to sell it and keep all the proceeds. Jeff has talked to me and told me actually just the amount of money they make from selling the products that they get for free almost pays for their entire YouTube effort. That generates millions of dollars in sales for them. It's a pretty awesome story. If you ever meet Jeff McRitchie, ask him to tell you about that.
Great. I've heard a lot from all of you about how important mobile is. So what have you done to modify your strategy for mobile users?
A big part of what we've done, obviously on our store side, is making sure we've got a responsive website, making sure it's fast. Traditionally, I think people nowadays are seeing something like 25-30% of their traffic is on mobile. For us, for years, it's been well over 50% of our traffic has been on mobile. So we've kind of had to be as aggressive as we could be on that responsive side, understanding that our customers are probably browsing us on a mobile device already, and so making sure that they're able to easily check out, easily purchase from us, and the website's responding and loading quickly and works well on whatever device they're using. And that's been a big thing in terms of using the Magento platform. We're on Magento Community, but the way the theme structure works, it makes it very easy for us to build a fully responsive site that's just built on top of our existing product catalog. I don't know if anybody remembers, it used to be you had to build a whole separate website, and it was a bit of a mess used to be a mess to set up mobile stuff, but with responsive design, it's a lot easier nowadays.
Great.
So another thing to think about is that, like, in addition to making sure that your website is responsive and fast and optimized for mobile, where again, like, people just don't like typing into those tiny boxes on mobile, is to think about how you're going to be engaging people, right, on mobile, and making sure that you are driving the traffic that you expect on mobile devices. One thing that we have noticed in the past couple years, again, is that search is often not a natural point of entry on mobile. You will find that if you are relying on the traditional pull strategy from search, where you're just waiting for people to search for you, you'll often not have as great of success as if you are adapting to the natural behavior on that platform, which is often a push mechanism. So you want to be the reason that people search and not wait for those searches to happen on mobile devices, which, if you've paid attention, search is often far lower volume. People on mobile phones often have a far lower volume of search results than the average person who's using a desktop computer. So it's really important to be present in the places that people are spending the time, to be adapting your message to be personal to the people, and making sure that you're reaching them with a message that is adapted for that mobile environment, right? So be the reason that they search, don't wait for them to search on mobile, and make sure that your messages are personal and also making an inspired and relevant environment in which people are snacking on their mobile phones.
How has your strategy led to increased customer acquisition or a lower cost of CPA?
So I was able to get some really good stats, talked with some merchants, and then talked with Pinterest and got some really good information on buyable pins. And it's interesting because the checkout is so carefully honed for mobile. that we compared the traditional website conversion rate on mobile, even on a responsive design, with conversion rate with buyable pins, and it's definitely an increase there. Obviously, all of you know that conversion rate varies from industry to industry, so anywhere from 1 to 5 could be good, or 10 might even be good for your industry, I don't know. So you can't really compare apples to apples there, but I can definitely tell you that all of the ones that we looked at, it was definitely an increase. And then also, the coolest thing about buyable pins is that Pinterest is not charging any kind of transaction or listing fees, so your only cost is the extension. So your cost per acquisition on a new customer is automatically going to be low. And then when I talked to some merchants, they were telling me that 80 to 100% of those buyable pins orders, those customers were brand new to the brand. So it's not just people that are already interacting with you on Pinterest and already following you. It's brand new people that have never heard of your brand before. And so just you can kind of do the math there and figure out just how low that cost per acquisition is for a new customer. It's a good opportunity.
Yeah, for us, one of the things that I think everybody kind of understands is it's obviously a lot cheaper to sell to an existing customer than get a new one. So for us, once someone does commit to that initial purchase, we're working as hard as we can to get them following us on some social channel, to start creating some type of conversation with them. So again, for us specifically, so that in a year or 2 years or 6 months, when they're changing out their phone, or when they're buying a new phone for a friend or for a girlfriend or a boyfriend or husband, or whatever in terms of phone, because they're so ubiquitous nowadays, that if we're engaging with them on that social channel, getting that repeat order tends to be a lot cheaper because they already know who we are. So we don't have to get them through advertising again. They're just coming directly back to us, or they're just engaging with us on the channel to make the next purchase.
Yeah, I think John, you hit on a really important point there, which is re-engaging your existing customer base, and how easy that can become on any of the social channels and not just Facebook, right? But that the people that you've previously driven to your business and have converted are now this great pool from which you can draw and cross-sell and upsell and re-engage and make them repeat and loyal purchasers, right? That's something that social media channels enable you to do quite easily. And so whether it's through custom audiences on Facebook, or engaging them on Pinterest or through Snapchat, it's really an effective strategy, and one that we find works incredibly well inside of social channels, and especially in mobile, where people again are just snacking every day and being inspired rather than searching.
I'm going to jump in really quick and say, I'm sure many of you know this, but if you are doing any kind of paid search, especially on Google, to get a spot in a TrueView ad as opposed to a click on Google can be as low as 10%. So if you're paying $1 on Google, you can get that same TrueView ad for a dime on YouTube. In addition to that, if somebody starts to watch your YouTube ad, the TrueView ad, and you hit that skip button before 30 seconds, you don't pay anything for that. You get basically a free impression. So I call it YouTube arbitrage, because YouTube has a lot of inventory and not a whole lot of demand right now. Now that'll change eventually, just like AdWords did initially. It'll change, but right now there's tremendous opportunity if you're willing to invest the time, money, and resources. You can get some amazing clicks using YouTube and TrueView over Google AdWords. One other last little thing too is, I haven't talked about Facebook video, but I know Facebook video works incredibly well for organizations that are investing time and efforts to learn how to use video. And maybe you guys could talk about the importance of video for Facebook, and
Sure.
You guys are making it a priority, so people who are using it are getting to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think when you hear Mark Zuckerberg on stage and he talks about the future of Facebook, and he's done this a couple times recently in some of his speeches, he says that Facebook, he expects in the next 10 years, will be primarily video, right? And so you look at the current stats and the current rise of video on Facebook and the success that our advertisers, as well as just businesses in general, have had on the channel. It's been quite staggering. I think Facebook has more than 8 billion views per day on its channel, on its platform today. More than 100 million minutes spent inside of, hours, 100 million hours spent, of hours viewed on the channel so far. So it's really an impressive rise. It's something, again, that if you are looking to the future of consumer behavior, you're finding that people really engage with rich media, and they are attracted to rich media, and they spend a whole lot of time paying attention to that inside of their mobile phones. So it's only something that's going to be increasing. It's an important place to play if you are looking to drive the search results, and if you are looking to be the place where people are inspired by your product and driving traffic to your sites on mobile.